Hello and welcome back to another trade recap. How I made 4K on one Top Step account and $1,000 on 3 Alpha Future accounts, totaling just about 7K on this position. I did only take it on one Top Step account and held quite long in this position. I did not take it on my stack of accounts like I did on my last trade recap. The first thing I seen when I came on the trade here, I always look at see what's happening in Asia session every single day. I made videos about trading in Asia before, but basically I'm only looking at the 5 and 15 minute. If I look at price right here, we end up coming down, tapping in this new week gap as you can see right here. But if I go to the hourly, we actually fail to close under it and fail to close under it again with this candle here. We also left this hour unfilled gap at this line right here. When I go to the 15 minute, we also have this 15 minute unfilled gap right here. So this is another area I can expect price to tap into before going lower. Because we've inversed the 15 minute long, I can expect price to tap in this fair value gap. When I go to the 5 minute, as you can see, it's a 5 minute unfilled gap too. When I put my fib tool on the move down, as you can see right here, we do get into 50% of the range, but for me, we didn't tap the 5 and 15 minute gap, and that is the key area I can expect price to go lower. Because we've inverse long, I expect price to come into this area and deliver lower for us. But because we didn't end up doing that, we left a wick just before it and came back down, I can look for price to respect the key area down here and then push back up to at least sweep this high and get into the fair value gap. And I'm going to show you how I did that. The first thing, I looked over to the left right here. I see me the 5 minute unfilled gap. We end up putting a low inside it, coming up and re-sweeping it. So we have a sweep inside a low on the lower time frame, as you can see right there. We have a sweep on liquidity. Then obviously we inverse to the upside, tapping the hour gap, come back down, but then we respect this 5 minute inverse to the upside right there, as you can see, coming back up and making an order block to the upside. I'm just looking and showing and marking out what price action is showing me. That's literally all I'm doing here. It's not too techy. I'm literally marking out everything price action showing me. Again, we have another fair value gap to the upside. I'm going to remove these two down here to keep the chart nice and clean. We obviously have that order block right there. Now, I can look for momentum above this high and target draws on liquidity higher and use the unfilled gap as our break even level. But I need draws on liquidity higher. Well, my unfilled gap's my break even. I have previous day up here, but I also have an intermediate draw on liquidity, and it's this trend line we're forming to the downside here. It's not perfect. It's better on the 15 minute, as you can see when it wants to load. As you can see, we do close a bit above it here, but we don't break it. We're not re-sweeping highs. In my opinion, this is a trend line to the upside. We can expect price to sweep with loads of little wicks, swing highs, draws on liquidity. Now, when I let price play out, we get the inverse right there to the upside. When I pull my tool up here, as you can see, that is where I put my stop loss. Oh, I put it at this low. Sorry, I put it at the protected low. Because we hadn't used the 5 minute order block, price might want to come back here, wick down here, and then go back up. So that's what I was covering in this example. Because we don't have a wick inside the order block to put as a protected low, this is the protected low for me. Now, we can target these highs here, which is the Asia high we made during Asia session. When I let price play out, as you can see, we deliver straight up to the high, break even. Job done. In this example, I ended up wanting to hold for about, London obviously opens, shoots us, or this is pre-London, shoots us to the upside. We end up coming back down a bit, and London actually pushes us back to the upside, as you can see right there, taking out the Asia high. And my TP was around here on my alpha accounts, because I can only make so much in a day as my max TP, or my max for my consistency rule, sorry. So that's where I end up getting took out on my 3 Alpha future accounts, as I showed on my recap on TikTok. Now, I held on my Top Step account because we had, obviously, cause price was pushing to the upside, we looked like we were not sweeping that high and come back down, we clean momentum. I just trailed my position. I trailed to this low here. If price wanted to come back there and take me out, I would have made still 1.5R in that position, would have been happy with that. But I was looking for the next high. When I let price play out, We end up sweeping it coming down a little bit. I trailed, I think, to this area here for 2.5R. Price never came back down to this area. So I kept trailing my position the whole way up. As price was moving up, I was trailing the under structure on the 1 min, 2 min. When I go to the 2 min, as you can see, we have this low here. I put it on that low. We also have this low here. I end up putting on that low because when I go to the 5 minute, that is a 5 minute low that respect the fair value gap and made an order block. So I want this order block to hold if we're still going to be bullish to the upside, and literally just follow my TP following structure. When we let price play out, as you can see, that was the move done for London session. We just chopped round for the rest of London. I ended up moving when price came back down. Actually, it was this wick here. Sorry, not this wick here. It was this wick here I was trailing to, which is just about 3.4R. So I had trailed to this wick here. As you can see, I very nearly got took out on my trailing right there. That's why, because I thought it was this wick, but it's this actual 5 min gap we tapped into. As you can see here, we ended up holding to this wick. I set my alerts. To be honest, I was on the charts looking, because this is the 5 minute. I'm not going to sit for 6 hours looking at price action. I set my alerts. If I seen this 5 min tap into this and push back up, I would have moved my stops here and even top of the order block, and I would have been took out. But simply because I was sick of looking at it and following it the whole way up, I went off and I set my alert at this high here, and then I was going to come back for market open. Now market open's coming here in a minute, right here. So this was market open. Obviously, we're super overextended to the upside. When I go on the hourly, I was looking for this gap to get filled here, but I can expect a reversal. We have just pumped to the upside the whole time. So I sat on open, waited for it to open, and then if price was going to start dumping to the downside, I was going to take myself out. And when I let price action play out, when this candle started dump down, I took myself out somewhere in this area. So I ended up getting somewhere between, let me see the RR, 4 to 5, somewhere here. I got took out somewhere on this candle coming down. I think it might have been up here. I'm not too sure. It was somewhere there. I'm not too sure exactly where it was, if I'm being honest. I just exited out of my position. And that is very simply how I made 4K on one Top Step account. Just trailing. Looking at what price action showing me. Trailed to a certain point. Very happy with making 3.5R. So then I set my alerts. And as you can see, we got an extra R because we obviously set our alerts. We never got took out. Thankfully, we didn't set, or thankfully we didn't sit on, or I would have got took out earlier. I actually got more by not sitting on the charts, because I would have put it, as I said, at that swing low. We obviously weren't on to put it there. So we end up getting a little bit more on that position, and price end up dumping to the downside, and that was us done for the day. I didn't even end up taking a trade in New York session, as I made already 7K between Asia and London. So I was very happy with that, and that was me done for the day. That is very simply how you can take trades in London, in Asia session. Hold on the higher time frame. As I've said, if you're going to trade Asia and London, with how I like to trade, I would highly recommend using the 5 and 15 minute. I would not really use the 1, 2, 3 minute, but you can. But in my opinion, it's just not optimal, you could say. I prefer the 5 and 15 minute only, really. As you can see, that was a 5 minute trade, but it was also a 15 minute inversion. As you can see here, I didn't mention, but we respect the 50 minute gap as well. That was very simply why I took that position.